Hi, this is Eastern Block, and share with you my experience of installing this UCS Millennium Falcon onto the mock vertical stand designed by Efferman. The first thing you want to do while this model is sitting on the countertop flat is remove any and all loose panels, including the radar dish, the cockpit tunnel, these little slivers of plates that just are simply held by a gravity pin, anything that can possibly come off. If you were to hypothetically turn this thing upside down, remove. That'll help a lot in terms of being able to reassemble without too many loose pieces falling off. That said, okay, once you've taken some of these panels off, you want to grab it at the bottom. And I know anybody who's built this knows exactly where to place their hands to lift it off the ground. Then what I did was similar to the position that you see now. I tilted it and had it rest on, in my case, a couple Tupperware drawers that I got at Walmart. These drawers are being used for other purposes, obviously, but I grabbed these empty drawers and set them down on the carpet. One, they grip the carpet very well so it doesn't slide like it would on a wood floor. And plus the carpet also grips the sort of this bottom porthole, if you will, and that happens to be the most structurally sound component where, putting the whole Falcon on that one area wouldn't had proven not to do any kind of real harm. No major pieces started falling off. So once the Millennium Falcon is leaned up against something, in my case again these two drawers, then you need to pop the feet off, and we'll go to the back of the model in a minute. But essentially, there's 4 feet that had to come off to enable the installation of Efferman's stand. So as this thing is leaning, once the feet are popped off, then you can, one at a time, remove one of these temporary supports and then clip the stand onto the back of the Falcon. So let's go to the back of the Falcon. Okay, you can see here, the Efferman stand might be a little difficult to see just because the color is so similar, but you have essentially 2 trusses that are then supported at the floor and with some other diagonal bracing that you see here. I noticed that the actual vertical, we'll call them trusses, components don't have any lateral support. Mainly that's because of this sort of gun, this sort of cannon being in the way, as well as the fact that once the ends of these brackets are engaged via this red pin, it's not going to move side to side whatsoever. So we get better focus on that. Okay, and there's 4 such locations on where you connect these red pins into the existing frame of the Falcon. In this case, the red pin was engaged in one of the holes of this L-shaped Technic piece. On this end, maybe a little hard to see because of the color of the Technic beam or Technic brick. There's a Technic brick here with a few holes in it that, again, this red pin engages to. The far one over there, you can see there's actually 2 pins. Now, interestingly enough, I had to actually relocate one of the pins to the middle to actually find and be able to engage the existing hole of the frame. I don't know if I may have used the wrong Technic beam at the time, but one of these red pins I had to just simply shift over and to engage the Falcon. It's Technic support, and then there's the final one over there. Additionally, you might, but before actually putting these pins in, these brackets did have somewhat, like I said before, somewhat of a wobble to them. So trying to keep them, straight and plumb might be a challenge. When you are only relying on your your two eyes there. So what Efferman did was actually at each near or below each one of these pins here, he took it upon himself to add these 1x2 tiles, two of them at each of the four corners. One engaged on top of his bracket, and then the resulting four studs would basically be engaged into the bottom plates of the Falcon. And again, there's four of those locations. So these studs actually, once connected to the bottom plates of the Falcon, allow you to align the bracket. There's another pair right there. Align the trusses, these trusses vertically and plumb before actually engaging the pins into the structure of the Falcon. And again, there's four of those points where you need to do that. And you can see what the three, I was able to leave 3 feet on the Falcon there. And I hope that this gives you a better idea of how the process went. Now that said, there were some tiny loose pieces that did fall off, including some of these some components off of here. This did not come. I did not remove this piece when moving and shifting the Falcon around, because that was pretty much fixed. That said, pieces of it had fallen off, and some pieces internally fell off. But again, no big deal. Just grab the instruction book of the Millennium Falcon, reassemble it, and there you go. Very little effort to for what ends up being a very big payoff here. So that's it from Eastern Bloc. Leave your comments or let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.